Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here, and I'm back with another Washington Commanders weekly stream. And today I will be previewing the Washington Commanders versus Buffalo Bills Week 3 matchup. The Washington Commanders have a chance to go 3-0 for the first time since 2005. It's been a really long time. They got to 2-0 after the big win against the Broncos. Let's see if they can carry over that performance, especially on offense. The defense needs to get a little bit better. Let's see if they can carry that performance over to this week against the Buffalo Bills. It's going to be very tough. The weather doesn't look like it's going to be great. I'm gonna look it up right now, but the weather is supposed to be, very rainy, but you never know with these weather forecasters. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's not. But it's supposed to rain from about 1 to 5. There might be, times where it's not super rainy, but let's say hi to some people in the chat. Let's see, what's up, GG Mon Gaming, appreciate coming through. Elias, Managed 42, Twan, appreciate all you guys for coming through. And if you guys are new, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, turn on the notification bell as well, and check out Mojo. I'm giving away a Jahan Dotson signed jersey, Sam Howell signed jersey, and some tickets. Going to be talking about that later in the stream, but let's see. Yeah, the weather is, Twan says weather in our favor, run the ball. Yeah, weather might make things a little bit closer, might force the Bills to not throw the ball as much. And if you are getting Mojo, make sure it's Mojo Fantasy, and make sure you use my link. I'll go ahead and put it in the chat. And once you do that, you can just message me on Twitter or email saying that you did it. And yeah, you'll be entered into the giveaway. But let's go over the injury reports real quick. I have a rant or two about the Kareem Jackson situation. He ended up getting fined actually less than Jamin Davis did for Jamin Davis's roughing the passer. But Commanders injury report, Logan Thomas is out. And then after that, everyone else is in. Cam Curl and Curtis Samuel are, originally listed as questionable because of an illness. They today got off the injury report and will be good to go. Buffalo Bills, man, they are very healthy. There was a lot of guys that were limited. Terrell Bernard, Spencer Brown, Leonard Floyd, Micah Hyde. A lot of guys that were limited, and Dawson Knox didn't practice Wednesday and Thursday, but everyone fully practiced on Friday except for Tre'Davious White, who it was a vet, day off. So everyone is going to play. So that is very good news for the Buffalo Bills. They have really no injury issues at all. And we don't have a ton. It's just really Logan Thomas, who is our loss right now. And then obviously Fedarian Mathis and Efe Obada are out until week 5. But besides that, we do not have a ton of injuries, which is good. And, Terry looks like he's fully healthy. Jahan, our offense did really well last week. We'll see how they do this week. Do you think we should try to get a new kicker? I don't think so. I don't think we need a new kicker. Yeah, Joey Sly missed a 59-yarder, and you would like him to make that, at Mile High, but the snap operation hasn't been great, and that could be in his head, but he's got to be a little bit better. But besides that kick, he was fine. The first kick, he missed it, but that was just a really bad snap, and that, caused him to miss that kick. Yeah, Cheeseman, Ed says Cheeseman needs to go. Yeah, that is someone that if he makes another mistake, I would not have been upset if he already got cut, but if he makes another mistake like that, he needs to be cut. Chris says, is Cam Curl playing? Yes, he is. So he was listed as questionable, but today him and Curtis Samuel they moved from questionable to not, no injury designation. So both of those guys will be playing, which is very, very good news for the Washington Commanders. Not having Cam Curl or Curtis Samuel isn't great, and they might be, a little under the weather, but they should be fine. They should be fine. Let's see. I just want us to be competitive. I want the win, but if we put up a good what I don't want is us to get absolutely outclassed and for it to be a 34 to 14 game, kind of like what the Raiders game was last week. That is the one thing I do not want to happen. Obviously it would really, really hurt if we lost on a last second play or penalty or anything like that, but at least it shows we're right there with the Bills. But I want to, as long as it's a competitive game, I'll be okay with it. Will I be happy when we lose? Definitely not. Not at all. There's no, I don't like the moral victories like, oh, we lost by 4 to a good team. Well, you still lost. It shows, you're solid, but at the end of the day, a win is a win and a loss is a loss. So they got to go in there. The Bills are going to come to Washington and, hopefully the Commanders are able to get that win. So let's get into some keys to victory. Actually, I want to talk about the Kareem Jackson thing real quick. So I don't know the exact numbers, but Kareem Jackson was fined less money for his hit against Logan Thomas than Jamin Davis was fined for barely touching Russell Wilson in the head. And there was another play where Sam Howell got face masked and they didn't call it. So that is extreme. That's just ridiculous to me that Kareem Jackson got, first off, he got ejected for that hit and he somehow gets suspended less than Jamin Davis for barely touching Russell Wilson's head. They love to protect the QBs. I understand that, but hey, Logan Thomas, former QB, but yeah, besides the point, it's just absolutely ridiculous that was the case. I mean, Kareem Jackson, they were reviewing his hit for suspension, and he did it back-to-back weeks. So how does that, I don't understand how some of these people have jobs. I mean, if your job is to, choose how much each player gets fined, I don't know, man. They need to check into that because that's just awful. Just awful. Let's see some other chats. Chris says, thoughts on Emmanuel Forbes versus Stephon Diggs. It's going to be a really, really tough matchup for, Forbes. At least Stephon's not a bigger receiver. I think he'll be able to maybe hang in there, but that's a really tough test for any cornerback, especially a rookie cornerback who I didn't think he played amazing last week. I thought he had a good first week. Second week was a little bit iffy. Allowed the 50-plus yard, reception to Mims. Also had a couple other receptions he allowed. Tackling wasn't great. The interception was good though, but I think that was, it was the second game. This week I think it'll be hopefully a little bit better, but he'll be on Diggs some of the time. He'll be on Gabe Davis some of the time. He'll be on some of their other receivers sometimes as well. So we'll see how he does. It's just going to be a really, really tough matchup for him against Stephon Diggs. Sorry about that, a little bit of a water break. But yeah, Stephon Diggs is a top 5 receiver in the league. So any cornerback that's going up against him, it's going to be a tough battle. But that's a guy you're definitely going to have to watch out for. Gus Bus says, honestly, the NFL needs to go to a 2-hand touch rule in order to sack a QB while still in the pocket. If QB's out of the pocket, he gets the same treatment as I mean, they favor the QB so much. It is what it is. I understand why they do it, but I don't know. James says, I have Diggs in fantasy. Hey, if Diggs ends up going off and we lose, at least you have that. Let's get into some keys to victory. So one, offensively, you got to do a little bit more quick game stuff. The Bills, I think sack-wise, they don't have a lot. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and check right now, but I don't think the Bills have a lot of sacks, but their D-line is very good, and they've been getting a lot of pressures. They've got, Gregory Rousseau, Jordan Phillips, Ed Oliver, not the real Ed Oliver, but he's been getting a lot of pressure. He's been a really good D tackle for them. So they haven't been getting a ton of sacks, but in terms of pressures and stuff and being disruptive to the quarterback, they've been able to do that. So I want to go ahead and look at how many sacks they had. Someone said they had 0. I'm trying to think if that's right or not, but the Buffalo Bills have 3 sacks through 2 games. So not a lot at all, but again, they get the pressure. So Howell needs to get rid of the ball quick. He needs to get rid of the ball quick. And in the second half, I thought Bieniemy did a really, really good job of playing to Howell's strengths and also getting, calling a lot of plays that he didn't really have to drop back a ton, like the screens to Gibson, Cole Turner, Brian Robinson. Those things worked out really well. So I know they got good linebackers, Bernard and Milano, but I would try to do some more screens, see how it works at least a little bit, instead of opening the game out, dropping back, 5 to 7, step drop back, and then Hal sacked or, throws a pick because of the pressure or something like that. You just don't want to see that, or a sack even. So I would do a little bit more quick game stuff, give it to your playmakers, throw some screens to Terry, to Jahan, even Curtis or Diami if you want to, and then, eventually throw some deep balls. And that's another thing. Like, I think that they could throw some deep balls. I mean, Sam Howell's like 2 for 2 this year on throws over 20 yards. They haven't done a lot, but I think that he could throw a couple more deep balls. And I'm trying to think. Terry had one. I guess John Bates had another 20-yard catch. So that's what I would do a little bit more. Just try to get the ball down the field a little bit more than they have been doing. And, just a couple shots in the game to Terry, to Jahan, because Terry will make the play for you. He will make the play for you. And I think it's just something you got to try to do. And then try to get Jahan a little bit more involved as well. I would say another thing is, the elements are going to be there. It's going to be rainy. So you're going to have to run the ball. But if the run game isn't working, because the Bills' run defense is very good. They held Josh Jacobs to negative yards. And the week before, besides a couple big plays, which we don't really have like explosive backs. We have some solid backs, but we don't have a back that's going to give get a 40, 50 yard carry. But besides, I think they had 2 carries for 103 yards that Jets did on the Bills. After that, they had 21 or something carries for 60 something yards. So they did a really good job. The Bills did against the Jets, and last week again they did a really good job. So if the run game isn't working out, maybe don't stick to it a ton unless the elements are terrible. So just try to if the run game isn't working, maybe do some screens and stuff, an extension of the run game. The weather is going to be a factor tomorrow. I think that's what Terry said. Eli says can't wait to go to the game. I'm not going to go tomorrow, but I will be on at the Thursday night game. So I believe that's in what? So not this weekend, not the weekend after that, but the week after that. Should be a good one against the Bears. Hopefully not a good one. Should be a blowout, hopefully, but don't want to get ahead of myself too much. But the Bears are a mess. It might end up being a field of position game where just not having turnovers gives you a big advantage. And the special teams has to be better. Special teams last week was really bad. It was really bad. You had the Cameron Cheeseman, muff snaps or the bad snaps. You had Joey Sly missing a 59-yard field goal, and then you had a 53-yard return that they allowed. It was or not a 50. I don't know what it was, but it was a long return that they allowed. So not a good day by the special teams, and the return game didn't really do much. So special teams has to be better for sure. Another thing was good, Kevin. Oh, all good. Another thing, got to pay attention to Stefon Diggs. Stefon Diggs, he's nasty. He can beat you deep, but he's just a really, really good route runner. He'll beat you off the line. I could see Emmanuel Forbes get cooked, and if he does, that's understandable. You don't like to see it, but Stefon Diggs is elite, and he's an elite route runner, so he's going to beat whoever's on the other side of him, whether it's Benjamin St-Juste or Kendall Fuller. And so you're going to have to pay extra attention to him. Make sure he's not, killing you, especially, he can get some yards after the catch as well, but he gets a lot of those 13, 14, 15-yard catches. Another guy you got to pay attention to is Gabe Davis. I'm going to look up his stats so far this season. I think he had a good game last week. He's a deep ball guy that you got to kind of pay attention to. You can't, I could see, I've said it every week so far, and it hasn't happened, so I guess I'll keep saying it so that, the reverse jinx, but I could see Kendall Fuller getting beat by, Gabe Davis for a long reception. So this year, Gabe Davis has 8 catches for 124 yards. He's averaging about 16 yards a catch, and he has a touchdown as well. So he's a big play waiting to happen. You do not want to let him, beat you deep. Besides that, they don't have a ton of guys that really scare you. Some of their other receivers, they got Andy Isabella, Trent Sherfield, and that's kind of it. So they're very top heavy, but those top 2 are very good. You got to pay attention to both of them. The run game, James Cook has also been solid this year, but I feel like we could lock him down if we really want to. I mean, against the Jets, he had 12 carries for 46 yards, average 4 yards a carry, or less than 4, a little less than 4. The next week, though, against the Raiders, 17 for 123. So he's a good back. He's also a solid receiving back as well. He already has 100. Is that right? 170 receiving yards on the season? Am I reading that right? Wow. But yeah, 170 receiving yards on the season on 8 catches. No, that does not. Okay, no, sorry. That was wrong. That was his rushing. I was like, what the heck? But he's also a solid receiving back as well. So you got to pay attention to him. But I'm not too worried about him. I think we should be fine. Appreciate that, Chris. Let's see. I feel like we win this game and get blown out badly by the Eagles. I would like to win either game. Whatever, if we can win one of the next 2, that's a huge. Yeah, that's absolutely huge. But another key to victory, we have to force some turnovers from Josh Allen. In the first week of the season, he had a really rough game. Actually cost me a fantasy win because not that I had him, but I was going up against the Jets defense and they got like whatever amount of points because of his turnovers. So he has 3 interceptions. I believe all of those were in the first game of the season against Tahir White. I think he threw it to Whitehead. And yeah, so far his completion percentage really good, 77%, 510 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and then I think he's got he's fumbled it twice and lost one. So a lot of turnovers so far, but that was in the first game. I don't know if he had any in this last game, but yeah, you absolutely have to try to force some turnovers, whether it's fumbles or we're going to get a lot of pressure on the offensive line. Spencer Brown isn't great, and they don't have a ton of great offensive line. I mean, their offensive line is not terrible. They're all right, but Spencer Brown is someone I believe you can beat. I'm trying to see the rest of their D-line, or O-line, but Spencer Brown is someone you want to attack. I think he's their right tackle, and whoever's on him, Montez Sweat, or going up against him, Montez Sweat, Chase Young, they should be able to dominate him and get to Josh Allen. They might be chipping and helping, Spencer Brown out. So their offensive line, Deion Dawkins, Connor McGovern, Mitch Morse, Osiris Torrance, who's a rookie. Okay, Spencer Brown. So I'm interested to see how Osiris Torrance has been so far this year. Was a guy I thought we could potentially draft. We didn't. We drafted. I don't know if he was still on the board when we drafted Quan Martin, but he's a guy I would have liked to potentially draft. It is what it is. We'll see. He'll get to see Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen tomorrow, and could be a tough game for him. Could be a tough game for him for sure. But hey, he's starting. Shout out to him. And I'm trying to see his PFF grade because there's no other way I can really see how he's done besides a PFF grade. And of course, PFF grade, you got to take it with a grain of salt, but I can't see it, but it is what it is. So the offensive line is beatable. It's not insane, but yeah, Chase Young, Montez Sweat, you got to get to the quarterback. And then Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne, Mitch Morse is solid, and some of their other guards are good, but they also have to get pressure as well. So that's kind of some of my keys to victory. I want to hear what your guys' keys to victory are. Yeah, Nicole says, I want to see Chase and Montez get their Bash Bros thing going early. Yeah, they got to get to the quarterback. They did it last week. 3 combined sacks. I don't think they forced a fumble, but they had some really clutch sacks. So shout out to Montez Sweat and Chase Young. Hopefully they do it again. Daron Payne had another dominant week, and I think Jonathan Allen, hopefully he has a good game as well. But yeah, on offense, their running backs, you got Cook, Latavius Murray, who's solid, and Damian Harris. Like, their backfield is very, very deep. And then, tight ends, they got Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid, who, has had a solid rookie year so far, but Dawson Knox is a starter. And then D-line, they got Greg Rousseau, Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones, and Leonard Floyd. And then as the backups, they got Shaq Lawson. I forgot about Tim Settle, AJ Espinosa, and Jordan Phillips. So they got a really deep D-line there. And then their secondary, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, Tre'Davious White, and then linebackers Matt Milano and Terrell Bernard. So they got a really good defense, honestly. And yeah, so far they've done well. I mean, they gave up 10 points to the Raiders and not a lot to the Jets. And, secondary, Tre'Davious White is not what he used to be. He is beatable. You can beat him. So I would not mind testing him early with Terry or Jahan for sure. And, they got some good depth at, in the secondary too. Like Taylor Rapp is the backup safety. Like they've got good depth for sure. And this is a very, very good team. And obviously Sean McDermott and Ron Rivera have some good ties as well. So let's see. Those are kind of the keys to victory. What's up, Gary? Appreciate you coming through. I think let's get into score prediction. Then we'll get into Mojo, do some picks there and stuff like that. But we got 50 people in here. Hit that like button, subscribe button as well. Trying to get to 12,000 subscribers. But score prediction. Don't have us winning. My first loss projection of the year. I am going to go 27 to 20. 27 to 20 Buffalo Bills. It's going to be, the elements could play a factor. So if it was, normal weather, I might go like 30 to 23 or maybe a little bit more. But I'm going to say 27 to 20. Buffalo Bills get the better of the Washington Commanders, but I hope I'm wrong. I really, really hope I'm wrong. If the Commanders win, I will be super, super, super excited. But the Bills are a very good team. Like, this team has a good defense. They've got a good offense. They've got an elite quarterback. That is just, we don't have those things yet. We have a good defense. We have some good pieces on the on offense. Offensive line could use some work, and then quarterback, we have potential to be a good quarterback, but we don't know yet what he is. He's still got to prove himself. And week 1 was iffy. Week 2, he was absolutely amazing. So let's see what this week is. Probably will be in between the two performances. That's probably what I would say. That's probably what I would say. So give me your guys' score prediction in the chat. Everyone go ahead and put it down. Rick Diaz says 24 to 23 Washington. I really, really hope so. And again, if we want to win this game, we're going to have to win the turnover battle, force some turnovers, and not turn the ball over a ton. That's really how it's going to have to work. Gus Bus says 30 to 16 Washington. Really? Wow. Not what I expected from Gus. James says Bills 27 to 24. Could definitely see that. John says 24 to 21 Washington. Okay. I could see that. Again, I could see a lot of these scenarios. I think we could win for sure. Dave says 28-24 Bills. And again, there's no moral victories. If we play close, though, it makes me feel better about the team. And, again, if we win one of these next two games, whether it's this Bills game or if we beat the Eagles, we are in a very, very good spot. If we're 2-2, it's not an amazing spot, but it's kind of what you expected. Steve says Bills lost to Zach Wilson, low 27-20 Washington. Yeah, they did lose to him. The thing, though, it was a divisional game. So that's just what you got to consider there. Yeah, it was a divisional game. You play tougher against your divisional teams. Let's see. Remember when Norv Turner was a coach? Good times, lol. I mean, hey, I wasn't born when he was the coach of the Redskins, but yeah, it is what it is. Okay, let's go into my Mojo, kind of picks and predictions. I don't have any official picks so far. Some of the lines are still coming out. I will post the rest tomorrow on my Twitter if you guys want to check that out. But I've announced it the last week or so, but I am giving away a Jahan Dotson signed jersey, a Sam House signed jersey, and some tickets as well. So all you have to do, you used to have to join a contest. All you got to do is download the Mojo Fantasy app with my link, which, I'm going to put my link in the chat. So if you download it without my link, it won't count. I'm about to put it in the chat, and it's first link in the description. If you do that, say done in the chat, and send me a message, whether on Twitter or my email, which is in the description as well. Just send me a picture of you in the app. You don't have to put any money in. It's also fine if you're out of state. If you ever go into a state that's eligible, it's fine. It's available in DC. So if a lot of you guys that are from Maryland or Virginia, you guys can go ahead and do that. Shout out to Rio, my guy. Says 28-27 Washington Commanders. Hey, I hope so. I think we're going to lose, but I definitely could see a win. And hey, I saw you say you're going to possibly, break a table tomorrow. I'm hoping to see that. But hope you stay safe. But yeah, that should be a good game. Should be a good atmosphere. It could be a 49ers type game. And Chaz, you don't have iPhone. That's all good. They're gonna come out with it on Google Play soon, so that should be fixed soon. But you can email me and I can talk to you about that. But yeah, if they win this game, the optimism with this fan base is gonna be at an all-time high, an absolute all-time high. And yeah, I mean, I really don't know what else to say. I really, don't know what else to say, because if we win this game, we're 3-0, and that is when this fan base, or not this fan base, but this team is going to start to get some respect amongst the national media. I know we did get ranked number 8 by, I think it was CBS and Peter Cisco. And let's see, Elias, here's my real email if you want to go ahead and email it there. If we win, I want everyone in this fan base moving and talking different. Exactly. I mean, the optimism's already there, but if we win this game, yeah, it's going to be crazy. And, the Sam Howell hive is going to be alive. I mean, I think everyone is going to be a part of it. If we win this game, sorry, adjusting this a little bit. If we win this game 3-0, and everyone's been talking like, oh, you guys beat the Cardinals, you beat the Broncos, and that's true. We haven't beat a truly good team yet, but also we have just beat the teams on our schedule. This is our first true test. Let's see how we play against one of the big dogs. See if we are one of the big dogs. I don't know if we are, but hey, that's why we're playing this game. And then, hey, if you lose this game, you still, you're going to go to Philly, and that game, it's a winnable game, because every divisional game is a winnable game. We beat that team last year, so it is definitely possible. Both games are going to be very tough, though. Both games are going to be very tough. Let's see. The Traveling Alien Trip Check says they're still playing with the storm coming through. Yes, they are. Johnny says I'm going to be talking crazy all next week. Our fan base will lose their minds with the victory. I totally agree. But yeah, again, going back to the giveaway, a signed Sam Howell, Jahan Dotson jersey. Both are burgundy, and tickets to, I'm still deciding which game to do. Might be hopefully a Giants game. And all you got to do is download the Mojo Fantasy app and send me proof that you did it, whether that's on Twitter, which is linked in the description, or my email, which I put in the chat as well. You got to download it through that link though, or it doesn't count, and I will choose 3 winners. So it's not all one person that's getting the jersey. Each person's going to individually, there'll be 3 separate winners for this contest. So I'm just trying to get as many winners as possible. But yeah, hopefully you guys enter that. And even if you download it and you're out of state, it still helps me out a ton and helps support me as well. And if you want to enter some contest, go ahead and do that as well. But I can't wait to see who wins the Jahan Dotson or Sam Howell jersey and the tickets. Todd says, what's up, Pedro? Yeah, Virginia Tech lost, man. Virginia Tech, the program is not in a good spot right now. Just lost to Marshall. It's just been a bad season so far. Hopefully they turn it around, but I really don't see them turning around. So it is what it is. I don't like the situation, but yeah, it is what it is. They're not going anywhere this year. They're not getting a bowl game, and they'll be lucky to win, honestly, another game or two. They really will be. So if you're any VT fans in the chat, go ahead and comment that down below. But let's go ahead and do some picks here for Mojo. They don't have a ton of lines out for this game yet, because some things are still up in the air. But I do think the Brian Robinson line is at 56.5 rushing yards. Do you guys think it's an over or under for that? That's a tough one because of the weather. And again, if I've talked about it so much with Mojo Fantasy, but their new exciting app where you can, a bunch of different contests, and you're not competing against the house, you're competing against other people. So you can compete against other Commanders fans or NFC East fans. It's really, really fun. They got, different contests. So, the double up contest where you can double your money in the green, where if you're over 50% of the competition, you win your money. So it's really innovative. You can trade in and out of your bets at any time, like a stock. So if your bet isn't going well and you still want to get out of it, you can do that as well. So it's a really good app. Go ahead and check it out through my link. Tell me and just comment down, I'm done, and you're entered in the giveaway after downloading the app. But so yeah, Brian Robinson, I don't know, man. I really don't know if he goes over that or not. Their D-line's really good. It's going to be tough to go over. I will go, and this might be bold, I'm going to go under the Brian Robinson rushing yards. It's going to be really tough against that good D-line. I'm going to go under 56.5. I think it'll be iffy just because their D-line is so good, or their D-line's so good against the run. Our offensive line isn't the best. So, I don't know. It's going to be really tough. So, and we might be behind at some point, so we'll have to throw it a little bit more. But I could see him getting over. It's really, really tough. Jahan Dotson's receptions is at 3.5. I've went over every single time, and it hasn't hit. I'm going to go over again. Over 3.5. He's going to get to 4. I really, really hope so. And 4 or more. He'll get to 4 or more, and the Commanders will be in a good spot if he does that. They haven't gotten him involved as much as I thought they would be. And yeah, let's see. Let's read some comments. Sorry about that. I hope over. James says over. Screen passes might work. We definitely need to target Dotson and Terry Moore. I agree. I like John Bates, but he doesn't need to get 5 targets in the game. I hope Cole Turner honestly gets some of those targets over John Bates. I really think he needs to do that. Shades me over easy. I hope, man. I thought that every single week. And it hasn't happened. And Eli says over under on ratio of Commanders fans to Bills fans at the stadium. I'll say 70%. I feel like 70% is a pretty good bet. I'll say 65 just because I think that, the tickets, people probably bought them early on before the Snyder move was official. They didn't want to give money to him. I think next year will be the true test, so I'll go like 65% Commanders fans. Steve says, I think Cole Turner will score a touchdown. Hey, if you think that, go ahead to Mojo and put that bet in because you can make a ton of money. A ton, because the odds aren't great on that. But hey, Logan Thomas is going to be out for this game. I hope Cole Turner gets a little bit more of a receiving, or he gets a little bit more involved in the receiving game. I really think, they need to involve him a little bit more. They haven't. I think, he has more burst. And, he's just a better pass catcher than Logan Thomas is, at least in my opinion. I know some people might disagree with that, but I think Cole Turner is better pass catcher than John Bates. John Bates can stick in and block, but it is what it is. And yeah, if you download the app, again, all you got to do to join the giveaway for a signed Jahan and Sam Howell jersey and tickets is just download the app. Even if you're out of state, go ahead and download it and just say, I'm done. And if you want, you can send me proof in the via email or Twitter, which I put in the description, and I'll enter you in the giveaway. Winner will be announced in 6 days. So just an easy, free way to potentially get a jersey. You don't have to join a contest. I know it says at the bottom of the screen, but you don't have to join a contest or anything. It's totally free. But let's get into some other stat predictions and stuff. Let's go back to this. Let's get back to some other stat predictions and stuff and some bold predictions. If you guys have any bold predictions, go ahead and put that in the chat for me. I don't know. I think I said my bold prediction was 5+ sacks for this D-line. I mean, against their O-line and against Josh Allen, that's tough to do, but I think we could do it. I really think we could do it, and I'm going to go and just look at the box score from the last game with the Bills and see how many times he got sacked. They did go up against the Raiders, who have sorry about that, Chandler Jones and Max Crosby. So that's a tough matchup for sure. And I don't know how that went. I mean, I'm assuming it went well for the Bills because it was just an absolute blow. I mean, 38-10, just absolutely terrible by the Raiders there. But let's go ahead and see. So he got sacked twice. for 7 yards, and then Jimmy Garoppolo didn't get sacked at all. So yeah, again, the Bills don't get a ton of sacks, but they get a lot of pressure. They got a lot of pressure. And then I'm gonna go ahead and look at week 1 and see how they did against. I'm trying to see that, but see how they did against the Jets, because that was a game they lost. So maybe that's the blueprint for the Commanders. And they lost to Zach Wilson, which is crazy. They lost to Zach Wilson in week 1, but that was a tough game. I mean, it was also, it was sad that Aaron Rodgers got hurt like that. But let's go trying to find that. So it ended up being a 22-16 game, but 7 of those points were scored on 6 of those points were scored on a punt return touchdown. So Allen was sacked 5 times in that game, and he had a line of 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, and rushed for 36 yards. That's another thing you're gonna have to try to contain him as a runner. And then they sacked Zach Wilson twice and Aaron Rodgers once. So that's kind of the stat line there. But yeah, you're also going to have to contain Josh Allen you're just going to have to contain him and try to keep him in the pocket, because outside of the pocket is where he does his damage. He's a better thrower outside the pocket. He also, can run really well, and you just don't want to be in those situations. And the tackling in this game has to be really good. The tackling has to be good, because Josh Allen, you just got to wrap up, because he can, escape a lot of these sacks. So cannot, have not a good effort on this, the sacks. You got to go full force and really try to bring him down, because if you don't, he's going to escape and he's going to make you pay. And the sacks are absolutely huge. You got to get as many as possible, especially against someone like Josh Allen. So definitely got to finish those sacks. Hopefully, Montez Sweat's able to do that, or Chase Young, whoever is going up against Spencer Brown. It's going to be a tough game. Weather's going to suck. Yes, I agree. And yeah, we got 72 people in here. Let's try to get to 35, 40 likes by the end of the stream. Probably going to wrap it up in a bit. Subscribe as well if you guys are new. I'm sure there's one subscriber or one person here that hasn't subscribed. And then check out Mojo as well, link in the description. And just tell me when you enter the giveaway for that Jahan Dotson or Sam Howell jersey, whichever one you want. Hopefully you get it. And then the ticket to a game of your choice. But other bold predictions, again, I talked about the 5 sacks. I think we'll have 5 sacks. I'll go ahead and predict who gets it. So I think Montez gets a sack and a half. Chase Young gets a sack to put you at 2.5. And I think Jamin Davis gets half a sack. Deron Payne gets half a sack. And then the other sack will be Jonathan Allen. I think that adds up to 5. Might be 4.5. But if it's 4.5, give it another half to Jonathan Allen. That's kind of my prediction right there. I think it could happen. I think our D-line is, we know how good our D-line is. They've been good rushing the passer. I think they're tied for the lead in sacks in the league, but they also got to play a little bit better against the run. I think both games they weren't amazing against the run, against James Conner and Javonte Williams. I think they could be a little bit better. So that's another thing they've got to be a little bit better than. They've got to be a little bit better at. Let's see. Colorado. If you guys are watching the college football today, Colorado got killed by Oregon. Not extremely surprising that they lost, but that they got absolutely demolished, even though they were like 20-point underdogs. Got some other good games that after this stream I'm about to watch. But today overall, some really good football games. And of course, Virginia Tech loses to Marshall. But yeah, Oregon State, Washington, Oregon State's losing by a lot. And the big games, Notre Dame and Ohio State, which I'll be watching after this game. You got the Penn State whiteout game. Just a lot of good games on college football. Bold, but I think Derek Forrest gets a pick. That is a bold prediction. He dropped a not a wide open, but just an easy interception last week. And then Forbes almost dropped it right after him. But let's see. What was the first Madden game you ever played? Ask Eli. I think the first one I ever played was the one with Brett Favre on the cover. I can't remember what it was. It might have been like 08 or 09. Brett Favre. Madden. Like I'm trying to, let's see. It might have been like 07, 08. Okay, 09. Yeah, that was the first Madden I played. But I think I played it like a year or two after. I think I played it a year or two after it came out. But that was the first Madden I played. But yeah, man, gonna wrap it up in a few minutes here. Any questions you guys have, go ahead and put it in the chat. This is a huge game. This is absolutely huge game. And yeah, if we can get this win, man, like the excitement is going to be at an all-time high. Like, I don't think that this fan base has ever been as excited, ever since the Dan Snyder era, than if they win this game against the Buffalo Bills. And then if they somehow start out 4-0 and beat, actually, I'm not even going to say that. We cannot get ahead of ourselves. This is a game right here. You got to win. And I really hope I don't have to put out a tweet or talk about it in the video where, like, okay, there's a reason why the Buffalo Bills are in a totally different league and class than the Washington Commanders. I do not. Obviously, it would hurt more. It would hurt my heart if we, lose and there's a last-second touchdown or penalty. But at least you're like, okay, it was close. It hurts, but if you have some positives in that game. But if you get whooped, like let's say, I don't know, 37-10, like basically what the Raiders did, 38-10. That it just cannot happen. It just cannot happen. If that happens, then you're just not in a good situation, and there's nothing to take out of it. If that happens, the defense got cooked. Sam Howell was not good. The O-line was not good. Bieniemy, everything. So that's just what I really hope does not happen. I want to win, but just do not get blown out. Do not get blown out, because then you're like, okay, we're just not in that category or not even really close. What's up, Super Chef? Says, salute my guy. Appreciate you coming through. Make sure you check out Mojo for that giveaway with Jahan Dotson and Sam Howell jersey. Todd says, I'm watching Arkansas and LSU. That's a solid game as well. Yeah, I'll be watching in a little bit. But any more questions you guys have or bold predictions, put it in the chat. And then, tomorrow, I don't know if I'll do it. I might do a pregame stream. I honestly might. I will be doing a, post-game reaction video and then, videos throughout the week. Whatever you guys want to see, I'll go ahead and do it, because after this week, we got a tough game against the Philadelphia Eagles, and I believe it's at Philly, which is not an easy environment to play in. So the Commanders are going to have to be ready. But, I just want to see a good game from Sam Howell, and I think, we should be in a good situation. And I just looked actually at the forecast, and Urkheim tweeted out 50 minutes ago and says, with the forecast, 1 p.m. no rain and 30% at 2 p.m. So, hey, it might not be as bad as we thought. But you never know with these weather people. Sometimes it'll be, you never know. It could change in a minute to a, monsoon. It really could. Let's see. That's why I said we need a close dome for RFK. Diego says, can the Bills run the ball? Yeah, they can. James Cook, at least in the second game, he went off. The first game, it was like 3.8 yards a carry, which is not great, but it's not terrible. And then the last game, he had over 7 yards a carry. So they can definitely run. You can't underestimate James Cook, but I could see him, fumbling it. I really could see him fumbling it. So, you got to force as many turnovers as you can. You really got to. But man, we're going to wrap it up here. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Got 76 people in here. You guys are still in here. Please hit that like button, subscribe, notifications on. Again, the giveaway, it's free. Just comment in the chat or after the video is over that you did it. And just let me know on Twitter or my email or in the comments again that you did it so I can enter you in the giveaway. It's free, and you can win a signed Jahan or Sam Howell jersey and some tickets to a game. So, go ahead and do that. And, man, appreciate all you guys. I'm hoping, less than 24 hours from now, like 20 hours from now, I am making a victory video for you guys. And we're 3-0, so that would be a really good spot to be in. Man, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.